Hey people, here we go. Verse 20 of chapter 2 of the book of Colossians. This is what Paul is saying. We've spoken about the theology and the mystery of the Trinity, the application of the forgiveness of sins because of who Jesus is, and then the whole thing about don't let the law keep you in the shadows, out there in the cold. And then he says, verse 20, since you died with Christ to the basic principles of this world, why, as though you still belong to it, do you submit to its rules? I guess he's expressing the same frustration that I've been showing you over the last couple of days. Why would you rather do that? Why would you rather burden yourself with the law and all the legalistic stuff that binds and keeps you and makes you very miserable and sad? Why would you want to do that when you can live in the wonder of the light of who Christ is? And then he goes on, he says, do not handle, do not taste, and do not touch. These are all destined to perish with us because they are based on human commands and teachings. I'm going to stop there for a moment. I do want to go on. But you know what? There's a lot of human teaching that goes on around today. If the human teaching that you're succumbing to or listening to does not measure with this, kick it for touch. Get rid of it. It's no use to you at all. It's all going to burn. And before it burns, it's going to make you terribly, terribly miserable. So this whole thing is based upon human commands and human teaching. Then verse 29, he says this, 23. Such regulations indeed have an appearance of wisdom. They really do. You know, I got to tell you, you may not know this, but I'm a legalist by heart. I love the rules and regulations. I guess that's why I kind of was drawn towards a military understanding or a military career, because I loved the rights and the wrongs and the do's and the don'ts, and because it helps me. Because I know if I don't have those things, then I can self-destruct. I need somebody continue to tell me, hey, don't do that or do this, because I don't have the wisdom inside of me to make it work. So I'm a bit of a bent. I have a bent towards legalism. I love the rules. They keep you on track. Well, there's a measure of truth to what I've just said. They do keep us on track, but they're not going to get you to heaven. Not going to get you to heaven. And if we put this huge cart before the horse, we're going to end up with the most miserable Christian experience. Sadly, much of the world is made up of exactly that. And his terminology is quite radical. He's basically saying it's all going to burn. Don't back anything that's going to burn. That's a waste of time, isn't it? So he says, don't handle it. Don't taste it, and do not touch it, even if it appears to make sense. You see, there's a thing out there we call prevailing wisdom, which is the wisdom of the supposed majority, which is the wisdom of those who supposedly know what they're talking about. You know, some people will tell you, oh, I've got the authority, I've got the word. Nah, you got nothing, pal. You got nothing. If you don't submit all of that to the Lordship of Christ, to the glory of the resurrection, it means zip. It means nothing at all. But then he goes on to say this towards the end of that passage there. He says, such regulations indeed have an appearance of wisdom. Hey, they do. Legalism makes a lot of sense, you know. Indeed, have an appearance of wisdom with their self-imposed worship. Because every time you do legalism thing, you're actually worshiping yourself. Because you want yourself to be glorified. You want yourself to be a better person. You want people to say, man, he's the guy or she's the woman. They got their act together. There's a subtlety of pride in keeping the law and our desire for legalism. A self-imposed worship, their false humility. Oh, they look so humble, don't they? They look so sweet. They look so humble. And yet they're stinking inside. And their harsh treatment of the body, but they lack any value in restraining sensual indulgence. You got some issues with sensual indulgence. Your willpower is not going to help you. You may think it will. You may think you're strong enough. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Your own perseverance, and I'll make this thing work, and I'll never do that again. Listen, people, I've tried that. It doesn't work. I'll work for a couple of days. And self-discipline is is a measurable product. We don't have a lot of it. It's not limitless. We run out of self-discipline, don't we? And eventually, where do we end up? Exactly where we began. It's a miserable, miserable way, isn't it? So let's learn from this today. Let's bury all that stuff and let's just live in the love and the light of Christ one day at a time, which means let's enjoy his presence today. Let's just enjoy who he is and what he has for our lives. Let's just enjoy walking and talking and living with him. Don't get into the, don't touch it, don't taste it, don't feel it. Just walk and talk with Jesus. And you say, Trevor, oh man, that's so darn simple. I got to tell you, it is simple, but it's the truth. I hope you experienced that. But God bless you anyway. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.